everyone. Mr. Devil here, Kenny Danico, 3-time Stanley Cup champion of the New Jersey Devils. And you're listening to the Uncle Pucker's New Jersey Devils podcast. Let's go, Devils!
Timmy, what's up, buddy?
What's up? I'm just texting Bobby back about what's his son's name?
Caden. So Kay's got his championship game going on right now. Last I saw that they were up 4-2 at the end of one. So yeah, Bobby's proud papa tonight. He's hoping the boys can bring home the championship. And so I'll tell you.
Yeah, and for like all the hockey parents out there, his kid's playing 12U and he's 10 years old, so he's like he's like half the size of all the other kids. Said he just got absolutely rocked in the neutral zone, so hopefully it'll be all right. But
I've seen some side by sides, and it's like he's playing with guys that are 2 times his size, which is crazy. But at the same time, it's going to elevate his game a lot more playing with guys like that. So. I mean it sounds.
Yeah, sorry, I keep interrupting. Hello, Chris, where'd you go? All right, well, I just lost Chris, so I'm going to wait for him to come back. Not sure what happened to him. I think I got to restart. All right, we'll be back.
The fuck? What happened here? Yeah, I have internet issues is right. I just accidentally knocked us completely off. I am so sorry.
Yeah, well, you just vanished, and I was just kind of puttering along by myself. I don't know what I do. I couldn't do this by myself, man. I don't know how you do it. I was just like,
I just hit I don't know what I did. My hand like grazed over my keyboard, and next thing I knew, everything was gone, and I was on my home screen. I was like, this isn't normal. And I'm like, Tim, are you still there? And I didn't hear anything. So yeah, it wasn't internet issues, Mike. It was just me being stupid.
Yeah. So, it's a massive, production budget that we have.
Yeah, exactly. Dubs just gotta love these live shows. This is like the Devils defense right now. We're gonna actually talk a lot about the game last night and some of the upcoming road games that we have ahead of us against a couple of really good teams in Winnipeg and Minnesota. Like I said, it's just myself and Tim this evening. Before we do get started, we got to give a shout out to our Hockey Podcast Network sponsors. That's DraftKings Sportsbook. The NHL season has been as predictable as a puck rolling on its edge, and no one knows where it's going, but that just means there's time for your favorite teams to figure things out. And games left for you to get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario, new customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, please visit dkng.co/audio. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. NHL and NHL team marks are the property of the NHL and its teams. That's DraftKings Sportsbook with code THPN. The crown is yours.
All right.
So, Timmy, what did you think of last night's game?
I mean, I thought it was ugly, but they won. I mean, I see a lot of people bitching and moaning, but it's like, what the fuck do you guys want? Pardon my French, but it's like, do you expect it's going to be tic-tac-toe, beautiful goals, shut down D? No, that's not going to happen. We're our roster is decimated. Like, we're pining over Cody Glass being out. Curtis Lazar was the 2C going into this game. If you're expecting, Chicago ain't exactly it, but we haven't been either. Like, I talked about this last time. It's like, we're one of the 5 worst teams in the league since January. So I don't know what kind of shit people were expecting, but you know, we scored 5 goals on a pretty good goalie. They do have some good high-end talent. Their power play is sneaky good. And we won. Like that's what we need right now. We need this team to win. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care that it was ugly. We needed to win. If that was game 1 against Carolina Hurricanes, and we win 5-3, are people going to care? Are you going to complain about that it was an ugly win? I don't care that it was ugly.
No,
and honestly, some of the goals were actually pretty fucking nice that we scored.
There was a lot of things that I actually can take away from last night's game as a positive. One being where the goals were coming from, right? Bastian gets on the board with a nice goal that we'll break down in a little bit. We'll break down all 4. Well, I guess we could do a 5.
We could do a couple until it lights my computer on fire.
Fair enough. We'll try and do some video breakdown for anyone watching on the YouTube channel, and we'll try and describe it halfway decent to anybody listening to it on audio. But I liked where the goals came from. Mercer getting in on the action, really playing, I think, the best game he's played all year.
Yep.
Last night, the snipe off the far post and into the net was just a gorgeous shot, beautiful snipe. It was nice seeing him actually producing on power play 1. So that was nice. Again, Timo doing Timo shit. Like, he's got this team on his back right now. Him and Heischer, Bratt. I think we know what we're going to get from them.
Yeah.
I like Palat's game last night a lot. I liked Halla's game the last few games. Like, this is what we need from Erik Haula. You need to be a pain in the ass. Like, you saw these last couple of games, right? Even that game against Vancouver, that the goal he scored, that was just him being a pain in the ass net front douchebag. That's what we need Erik Haula to do.
Yeah, he's a greasy prick,
and he needs to play that way.
Yeah.
I even thought Lazar brought it a little bit last night. I thought that I liked the way that everybody showed up to play. Now you can take, okay, well, great, they won. We were down biting our nails with 2 minutes left again in the third period to the lowly Blackhawks. But the fact that we didn't blow it really does that does say something. That gives them some confidence. They keep saying it. You listen to all the interviews, right? Well, we're playing hard. We like the way we played in some of our games that we've lost recently, blah, blah, blah. Now they have the confidence. Now, here's the thing, though. You did it against Chicago. How are you going to do? Because we can't play this kind of loosey-goosey defense that we've done these last couple of games. I mean, the goals that are scored on us are just missed assignments and guys wide open in the slot, and that's not how this team plays. This team needs to try their best without Siegenthaler and without Hamilton, mainly Siegenthaler, though, to get back to that stretch where they were allowing less than 20 shots on goal. They have to get back to that. I think if they spend the next 9 games focusing on their defensive structure, all across the board, forwards and defense, and Markstrom getting back to being Markstrom, which I think he will, I don't think that you can count this team out come playoff time in round 1. And everybody is counting them out. Every single national media that I see is, well, you don't see the Devils beating Carolina in round 1. No. Carolina's going to roll through them. Well, I don't necessarily know that that's true if they can get their shit right. That's just where I'm at.
Yeah, no, I agree. And in terms of the defensive structure and everything, they've actually been pretty good for the most part. And I think you look at the distinction between Allen and Markstrom right now is the past 3 games, every single goal has been a breakdown when Markstrom's in there. And Allen kind of has been able to mask a lot of that because he's been making a lot of those saves. And Markstrom's not giving us that save that we need when we need a save. He's stopping the puck that's coming at him, but he's still looking pretty shaky. He
doesn't look comfortable.
He was flailing around a little bit a couple times. He's blowing way past the post on his coverage. He's overcommitting. He couldn't catch shit last night in his glove. I think he had 5 or 6 drops. He's kicking out rebounds left and right. It was pretty ugly, but he's the kind of guy that thrives on work and needs it. And just, he's a vibes and a feel guy. So, again, perfect game for him to kind of feel some rubber, get back into it a little bit. But, I think it's still got to be Allen against Winnipeg, because Winnipeg is a team that thrives on turnovers, forcing you to make mistakes and capitalizing on those mistakes. And when you do, they smell blood in the water. What was that?
No, it's a car just passing by.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
Mike
they smell blood in the water, and they will capitalize on mistakes. That's kind of their bread and butter. They don't really have like Kyle Connor's really good. I think he's maybe top 15-ish in points. I haven't looked recently. Scheifele's still pretty good, but they don't have like any one guy. They have a lot of depth. Like Ehlers is nasty. Their second, third lines are good. Appleton can kind of score sometimes. Niederreiter's kind of a big bodied guy. Their decor isn't like, all world. They didn't like Morrissey's pretty good. Sandberg's pretty good. Pionk's pretty good. They have our old
Miller, yeah.
Yeah, they have Colin Miller. God bless his soul.
I disagree with the Allen going tomorrow. I do think that you got to play Markstrom as much as possible. I mean, we got to get him back into form. Now, I'm not going to be bent out of shape in any way if Allen plays. I've said this before, and I stand by. I'm comfortable with either guy. But if you're going to, quote unquote, stick to the plan, right? The plan is go into the playoffs with Markstrom as your number one. I think just put him in there, man. Put him in there against Winnipeg, one of the best teams in the league. Let's see how he can do. Let's see how this whole team can do, because this is a big, Mike's right, and Markey tomorrow, Allen versus Minnesota. I'm fine with that. You're going to have to run one of them out.
One of them's going to have to go.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, that Minnesota game, I think is very winnable. They are, without their best players, Kaprizov's out. I think Eriksson Ek is out.
He's
as
still
well.
out.
So, they've been riding Gustafsson and their top pairing of Middleton and Faber, have some pretty shitty underlying metrics. They just get a ton of volume. It's kind of they're a little bit similar to Pesce and Luke, in the sense that it's kind of a little bit of wily veteran and young up and coming guy.
Right.
But that just get put out in a ton of minutes and kind of bend but don't break. So, I'll be interested to see what happens. Winnipeg is clinched. I haven't watched. I watched them versus the Caps the other day, and I wasn't like super impressed with them. They're just a good, solid, well coached team. They don't have any one guy where you're like, holy shit, let's look out for that guy. Kyle Connor can be slippery. He kills us all the time, but they're just a good, well balanced, well coached team. So.
I tell you, I was watching the Winnipeg Ranger game a while back, and God bless Sam Rosen. And anybody who listens to grew up in this area knows who Sam Rosen is. He's been the Ranger play-by-play guy for 40 years. This is his last year. He's retiring. He annoys the crap out of me, and especially when you could tell the words he struggles with. And I actually felt bad during the Winnipeg game for Joe Micheletti, who was doing color, because in the same sentence, Sam Rosen blurted out Scheifele, Schott, and Shesterkin all together. He spit all over Joe on that one. Like it.
His microphone is just covered in
his spit, and it's like, and you can hear him when he does the calls. Like you can hear that spit that's behind his throat. That you just want him to hawk that loogie and move on, and it's always right there. It was Shesterkin, Schott, and Scheifele. Oh my God, this fucking guy's just covering Joe Micheletti in snot.
You can hear the bourbon in his voice.
But I mean, I think we're pretty much in a sense of we're playing the Canes, which is something I think that we've always thought of. Me and you were pretty much. Bobby,
we've been saying this for months. There's so many doomers that are like, we're gonna miss the playoffs. It's like, no, we're not. Like the other teams in our division, they all suck too. Well,
that's the thing. If any of these teams below us wanted to take us out, they could have in the last 2 months. Like we were easy to pick off, and nobody did it. So, we're just going to hang around in that spot. I do want to get your opinion on, so if the playoffs were to start today, which I think is maybe first place in the Atlantic, you got Maple Leafs and the Panthers. Both played 71 games. They both have 89 points. And then you have the Lightning sitting there with 71 games played as well with 87 points. So for all intents and purposes, the Atlantic Division can go to any one of those three teams.
Yeah.
But we're going to keep it chalk for this exercise, right?
Sure.
So the Maple Leafs are going to win the Atlantic, which means that the Panthers and the Lightning are going to play the first round, which I think they've played like the last 6 years, one round. Capitals are locked in, maybe even the President's Trophy. They have 103 points with 71 games played. You got Carolina with 71 games played with 90 points, and the Devils with 73 games played, 83 points. And then you have, like I said, the Senators are 79. They're wild card 1. The Montreal Canadiens are wild card 2 with 75. But you do have the Islanders and the Rangers and even the Blue Jackets nipping at their heels. So like I said, we're going to take the standings as they are today. So as they are right now, you would have Montreal playing Washington, Ottawa playing Toronto, Florida playing Tampa, and New Jersey playing Carolina. So Ottawa versus the Panthers or the Maple Leafs.
Ottawa.
You're going to take Ottawa.
That is whoever has to play Ottawa is so fucked. I just think that team is just ready for it. And if it's Toronto, if Toronto loses to Ottawa, Ontario is going to burn to the ground. And I just think it's just going to be so fucking funny. Like I don't know. I could be totally wrong about that, but I just think Ottawa is so built to pick someone off like that.
I agree.
But I think if Ottawa plays Florida, I think Florida wins. And I think if Ottawa plays Tampa, I think Tampa wins. I think Tampa is going to the Eastern Conference Finals. The way they looked recently, and with the way Kucherov is playing and points playing, and Vasilevsky's found it again. Like they're a dangerous team.
So you got the Lightning over the Panthers? Tim? I think we lost Tim. Timmy, can you hear me? Yes, Tim is gone. So we're going to remove Tim and we're going to get back. Okay, so since I'm doing a solo show for now, let me see if he's back. Tim, are you there? No? All right. We're going to have to get him back on at some point. So Tim might have to restart himself. So anyway, when it comes to the Maple Leafs and Ottawa, I got to agree with Tim. I would think I would take Ottawa on that. Oops. Hang on. Are you good?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, man. This is
it's all good.
Sorry, where were you? I didn't know. You cut off. I just said Ottawa.
Yeah, so I mean, I was just saying that too, that I can see Ottawa beating Toronto. I would like to see that too. That would be awesome. So then you got Florida and Tampa, the battle of the America's Wang, which is the state of Florida. So you're going with the Panthers, or you're going with the Lightning? You just said the Lightning going to the Eastern Conference Finals.
I think it's the Lightning. I do
too. I do too.
They're good. They're such a good team.
I just don't know. Like, we don't know if Matthew Tkachuk's going to be back. I mean, they're saying who knows? I think Marchand is supposed to suit up for them tonight, so that'll be kind of interesting.
I just don't think he's going to be all that impactful.
I agree. I see him as like Tarasenko.
He's a late 30s third liner for Florida. Like,
yeah,
he's going to play 13 minutes. Like, what's he? I don't know. I think his name carries a lot more value than he actually has.
So then we get the Habs going against the Caps.
I think the Caps mop the floor with the Habs. The Montreal is okay. I just don't think Montembeault is it. And with Lane Hudson being their number 1D, and they're a one-line team, I just don't think they have the depth to roll out against the Caps. The Caps are fucking big and mean, and they can score. And Tom Wilson will run train on that team. Protas will run train on that team. Ovechkin will run train on that team. Like, it's just, I think that would be an absolute bloodbath.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I wouldn't be. I think that the Habs pulled off one win out of that. I would consider them lucky.
I don't think anything will be a sweep, maybe except for Carolina versus us. But
well, that's
for
what I want to get
for us,
next.
we're sweeping Carolina.
All right, so it's Bobby's son is up 4-3 at the end of 2, and says he's making diamonds with his butt clenching. So I wish you the
exciting.
best. Yes, exactly. Fingers crossed. All right, so that leads us to the Devils and Carolina, and take off the devil-colored glasses and tell me what you really think.
I think realistically, we probably lose that in about 5 or 6 games.
You think so, huh?
I think if we can get it to 6 games, that might actually be a success.
See, right now I agree with you. Right now I would say 5, 6 if we can get that far. I mean, the thing that since Rob Brindamore's been the head coach of this team, they haven't lost in the first round ever. Mm-hmm. So that's going against us. I am going to wait for these final 8 games, 9 games, because I do think that this team can end up being one of the hotter teams going into the playoffs over the course of these next couple of weeks. I just think they have to come together. I saw it. We saw it in bits and pieces over the last few games. I thought last night was probably the closest we got to a 60-minute effort in the last bunch of games. So even the last win before last night, which was against the Blue Jackets, I mean, we nearly gave up that whole game in the third. Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't for Jake Allen, so that wasn't a full 60 minutes. And so I liked what I saw last night. Go beat Winnipeg. Go beat the Minnesota Wild. And I might start feeling a little bit better about this team going up against the Canes. I think that if we had Jack and Siegenthaler and Dougie in this lineup, I think we can beat them in 5 or 6.
The Canes?
Yes.
Yeah.
With our lineup intact.
I think with our full lineup, yeah, I think so. I mean, Markstrom's been a little iffy recently, so that does make me nervous. I think more broadly, we had the edge in goaltending. I think with Siegenthaler and Dougie, we have pretty even on the D-core. Their D-core is actually sneaky good. Forwards, I think we're much better than them. Like, they've gotten objectively worse. Like I've said this before, like they're smaller. And one of the things that when they blew us out of the second round a couple years ago, they pounded the shit out of our D on the forecheck. And that's what killed us. Like I have this vivid image of 5'10" Jesper Fast, like hitting Ryan Graves, basically broke him in half, threw him into the snack bar. And I was like, that's it. We're done. If Ryan Graves, our 6'6" D-man, is getting blown up into pieces by Jesper Fast, they don't have those types of guys anymore. Like Aho's not doing that. Svechnikov's not really doing that, even though he's kind of a greasy prick. What's the new kid they got for Rantanen? Stankoven.
Yeah, Stankoven.
Like he's 5'9". He's a little bit of a pest, but he's not putting anybody through the backboards. That's how you wear people down in playoff series. There's that very famous clip of Paul Maurice from that Amazon show where he's like, stop trying to make plays. He's just pound their D, pound their D. That's how you get it done. Pound their D. And that's what you do. You slow down, you pound the D, you pound the D. Jesus Christ.
Pound the D?
Pound that D. Just fucking pound it. Just pound it. So that's how you get it done, because that's how you cause turnovers. And so to bring it back to the Devils and against Calgary, we were doing that really, really well against Chicago last night. They have some young Ds like Vlasic and Lev Shunov, who are pretty good. Connor Murphy's okay, but we were right on top of their D. Like you were talking about Lazar and Bastian. It was one of their best forechecking nights I've ever seen from those guys. Like they were really good getting in the forecheck, but they're also causing the turnover. There's one thing to get in the forecheck and just try and throw a body and a heavy hit, and the guy makes the pass anyway, and they break out. They were getting good with their F1 coverage, getting the first hit, and the F2 guy being there to retrieve the puck and get the puck back. So that's something that I think was really promising from the Chicago game, and they did it for 60 minutes. They didn't do it for 20 minutes. They didn't fall away from that game. They did it for the full 60 minutes.
So Jay Snow is, saying we barely could hang on versus the Hawks. We're going to get dog walked by the Jets. He wrote, our defense scares the shit out of me. We can control play for a whole period. The other team has the puck for 1 minute and it's in the back of our net. And then he wrote, Tim, that high stick wasn't called back. We probably lose that game. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't agree with that. And it doesn't matter because we didn't lose the game and it got called back.
And I do. Even when I was first watching it, I was watching it on delay. I didn't know that goal was coming back, and it was all of a sudden they tie it up at 3. I still felt that we had the game. I still felt that we were playing better and everything. But he does make a very good point that we can control play for, a dominating amount of time and have nothing to show for it. And then all of a sudden,
it's happened to us so many times this season when we were really struggling with our scoring. Like that was our MO is we'd be dominating 10, 15 minutes of the first period and one opportunity the other way, shots would be 10-2 and the second shot would go in. Like I think Markstrom let in like the first shot of the night, like 3 or 4 times. Yes. I get it. But like, we were in control of that game. As ugly as it was, we were in control of that game all night. We were a little rough through the neutral zone, but the dump and chase and forecheck was working. That's a really promising sign because that's something we haven't been good at. What our problems have always been and have been for the past couple of years is when we play a trapping or a neutral zone team that plays a good sound neutral zone structure that limits our transition game, we haven't been able to step up and play a dump and chase in a forecheck game. That's been our kind of bugaboo for a couple of years now.
And a part of that, especially this year, you go after Christmas up until right around now, I'll say up until like the major injuries and stuff, like we had 0 production from our third and fourth lines. Our third line since Cody Glass has gotten here is actually a third line now.
Yeah.
And if we can get our fourth line to do what they did last night, that's all we need.
Every asshole that I want to fucking ship to the fucking moon scored last night.
Yeah.
Palat and Mercer. Like, I give Mercer a ton of credit. Like when that kid shoots the puck, like he's actually a good, productive player. Like I don't know, there's a couple of games ago, I forget which one it was, where he just kind of he came into the offensive zone, pulled up and just ripped one and hit the crossbar. It's like he has an incredible shot, and he's just not a play driver. And if you put him on alongside Nico and Nico and Meyer or someone of that ilk, put him on, I think they had him with Bratt. I think that was the line that they had together as Holla, Bratt, and Mercer.
Yep.
Like put him with Bratt. That's a great line. And then you suddenly have 2 lines. Then you can slide Glass in now on the third line. And then with the fourth line playing the way it was, Bastian could be one of the better fourth line players in the league. He sucks right now and has for almost the entire year, but he's very good defensively. And then if Lazar reemerges as the guy that we hope he is, that's great too. Cotter was actually pretty good last night. There wasn't a single guy last night that I could be like, that guy had a terrible game. Maybe Dumoulin.
Well, I do want to touch a little bit on the defensive guys in a minute, and then we can do a little bit of some video breakdown.
Film room with Tim.
Yeah, some film room with Tim would be fun. So my thing, okay, so what is it about these guys that, like, I feel like, okay, now I think there was a lot of stress on them before the trade deadline. I think there was a lot of stress on them the day of the trade deadline, and that's the game that we lost 6-1 to Winnipeg. I just don't think their heads were in that game. New guys coming in, who was going to leave. I think these guys expected somebody big coming in, and then all of a sudden you find out that you're not getting any help. Yeah. It's Cody Glass, and I think that they've learned to be okay with that and play better. But so for this team to do well in the playoffs, and there are a bunch of guys on here that I feel are highly capable of elevating their game come playoff time to something that we haven't seen regularly this year.
Yeah, 2 guys from last night.
Right. You talk Palat, right? Mm-hmm. And are you talking Bastian or are you talking
Holla?
Holla? Okay, so Holla and Palat, I agree. Nason, Cotter, like these Dylan, Pesci, these are guys I expect to do all the little. I'm talking eating every fucking puck thrown at the net. I'm saying, just hitting anybody that comes around. This is what we need them to do, and we know they're capable of doing it. And guys like Palat and Holla, we saw in the Ranger series 2 years ago. As soon as that game 83 started, they took their game up to another notch.
Yeah, and if you remember 2 years ago, Holla 2 years ago was pretty injury prone again, and kind of was finally out of the injury issues in March, and he had himself a pretty good March 2 years ago that continued right in the playoffs. Like he had that ridiculous one-timer in the playoffs in Game 7. On that feed from Jack. I think it made it 3-0. But yeah, he's a guy, like these veteran guys, like it helps to have these types in the playoffs. And look, I'm trying to walk the fine line between not having delusions of grandeur about this team, but also looking at them and saying, like, they can actually do some shit if they just pull it together. And we just haven't seen them pull it together. And I don't know if I'm being too hopeful saying now is the time to go on a little bit of a run and get your shit together. And I think you're kind of saying the same thing too.
Yeah, you want to be feeling good about your game going into the playoffs.
Yes.
I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, listen, we've been Devil fans for as long as anybody. You go to those cup winning teams, even any kind we took a long playoff run, but I'm talking about the years that we won the cup. 2000, for instance. In 2000, we did basically what Philadelphia did right now. We fired our head coach right around this time. It was like March 18th, March 19th. There was like 10 or 11 games left in the season. We're in a playoff spot. We fired our head coach. Lou Lamoriello said, "Sorry, Mr. Faturak, but we are not going to have you at the helm going into the playoffs."
Still to this day, I can't believe he did that. But
and they go and win the cup. Yeah. They were struggling that year. If you remember at the end when Larry Robinson takes over, I have them going 9-1, Jay, not 9-0. They're going to lose to the Penguins, but they're beating everybody else. Anyway, Faturak is gone. Larry Robinson comes in. I think they lost 4 out of their last 5 going into those playoffs. The last game of the year was against the Panthers, who we already knew we were playing in the first round. Yep. And we were struggling. And we shut the Panthers out in game 82. And then we went and we swept them in the first round. And that was it. The team was off and running. So many times that these guys have, like 95, they were solidified number 2. They weren't, they weren't going into the playoffs. They had like 100 and something points that year. I'm sorry, I'm talking about 94. 95, they just made the playoffs. I think they were the 5th seed. So they didn't have home ice at all. This is when we used to go 1 through 8. So they were 5th. Didn't have anybody. We had to go on the road for every game 7, every home opener, whatever. Yeah. It allowed us to at least win the cup at home with the sweep of Detroit. But again, these last 10 games are going to tell a lot. Not so much of who your team is, or it's more so how are they feeling? How are they feeling? Are they feeling good about their game? Can they go into start a series in Carolina and feel good about how they ended the season, the last 10 games? Can they go in and say, hey, if we just keep doing what we're doing, we have a shot? You don't want them going, we can't do what we did last night or the night before that, because we're going to get shelled. You have to just feel good about where they're going. I hope Keefe can get them there. I like to think there's enough leaders on this team to do it.
You know what's pissing me off on my Fire Fits agenda is the bullshit. Yeah, the fucking bullshit PR spin zone. After he didn't get anybody at his press conference that he did afterwards, he was like, well, now we have all this cap room to create competition and, guys will be playing for their jobs. And that is fucking working. And it's pissing me off that, that it's working because Bastian and Lazar were out, come back in the lineup. And what happens? Score the first fucking goal of the game.
Yep.
It's working. And I cannot believe that bullshit spin zone is actually working.
I'm with you. And Jay, so Bobby will give me a hand job no matter what. I don't have to get my predictions right.
Jay Sprong, I think he got dumped in the Passaic River.
Hey, what happened to him? Where is he?
I don't know. Dead? I have no idea.
And then
it's just like, is he even on the fucking team? I don't know.
Cody Glass is he injured? You said he was having a kid.
Supposedly, okay, so because I spend too much time online, apparently all the Penguins wags had a baby shower for Mrs. Glass a couple months ago or a month or so ago. So that is the assumption that that baby is now imminent or coming or something like that.
Well,
It's
usually
kind of weird that they wouldn't have said that, which I hope everything's okay with like baby and pregnancy and stuff like that. Because if that's the case, they didn't say anything. That leads me to believe that it wouldn't be. But they said on TNT last night that he was injured. I don't know if they just didn't know that or why the Devils just refused to release any kind of information about anybody.
But even Keith, when they asked about him, he said he's being evaluated and we will know more later. That's what he said. So I'm like, evaluating his wife's baby? What are we doing?
Glass?
About Glass, yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Keith said that. So that's why I didn't know if there was another story. But
no. I thought it was the baby thing, and TNT just got it wrong. I didn't see that Keith said they're evaluating him.
Yeah, that was I think like the like the post skate interview that they do before the game. So we're gonna drop a couple of commercials right here for anybody that's listening on the YouTube channel. I mean on the on audio. So here's a little word from our sponsors. And we're back. Okay. See how that works?
Yeah, look at that. Look at that.
How about we do
production quality through the fucking roof. Honestly, Mike Ruff and Jay Snow should be paying us for this shit.
That's right.
So speaking of firing coaches,
but traveling. Yeah. Okay. So yes, let's talk about
speaking of firing coaches. Apparently, John Tortorella just didn't want to fucking coach anymore. And was like, fuck it, I don't want to do this anymore. He said that, okay? And the Flyers are kind of like, all right, man, well, then you're not going to coach anymore. I don't understand what happened.
It was. I heard the comments he made after they got drubbed by Toronto. I think 7-1 or 7-2, basically saying, "I don't know how to coach a bad team." Is essentially what he said. I don't want to continue coaching a bad team. I don't know if he meant it as I don't want to be the head coach of the Flyers anymore, or he was maybe trying to put some of that, putting some of the blame on himself. Because he did say many times, like, it's my job to get them ready. I haven't done that. It's on me. It's on me. It's on me. I had said when they first hired Torts a couple of years ago, and on this show, and if anybody listens from day one a couple of years ago or whatever, I said, this is a mistake. I don't understand this.
Maybe three of you
because
guys.
Yeah, Tortorella is a guy who you bring in, like, okay, for instance, I wouldn't have been shocked if John Tortorella took over for Lindy Ruff last year. Like a team that is ready to, now he had another job, I understand that. But I'm saying that's the position that I would put Torts in now.
That's yes. That I agree with that.
Hey,
I didn't realize he was 66.
Yeah, he's getting up there.
That means he's Lindy Ruff's age. Like,
except Lindy Ruff looks 166.
That's what I was gonna say. Like Ruff looks like he's been in 2 world wars. Like, and
right.
Tortorella looks like he
Tortorella looks good.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He must use Jergens.
Yeah, he must. He gets that. He's got the Tim sponsored Jergens lotion on the bench with him at all times. So
great skincare.
Yeah, I mean, I think like, okay, when you have your team built, right? And you know what? I have the pieces. I have the goaltending. I believe in the philosophy and the culture in this room, but I can't get these guys over that hump. In other words, all the pieces are there. Who can I bring in to teach them how to win playoff style hockey? That's when you bring Tortorella in. Like, I was sitting here going, Tortorella, this guy is good. Mitch Koppich's going to drive this fucking guy crazy.
Apparently,
I'm like,
he eventually did.
Yeah. And everything that we thought would happen, typical Torts shit. He overstays his welcome. It's just who he is. His shtick gets old. And especially with young players, there's only so much that you can listen to your head coach talk about benching you, shit talking you to the media, most likely shit talking to you in practice all the time. And then you go out and the results aren't there and you're still losing. Well, if this guy knows fucking everything and I'm doing everything he's barking at me for, then why aren't we winning? Eventually, Flyers have a bunch of problems. I don't I don't know if I would have ever brought Torts in that situation, but where do you go from here? I
think,
mean, that team is so fucked.
I think with Torts, you kind of look at two guys that had a really bad reputation, right? You look at Babcock and you look at Torts, and they are kind of almost sort of on a parallel path, maybe 10, 15 years ago, you know, perceived very similarly, tough, hard ass kind of coaches. But somewhere along the way, the difference stylistically diverged where Babcock, you realize like, oh, this guy's a real actual piece of shit and plays like fucking head games. And with Torts, I feel like the perception of him changed a lot where people are like, yeah, he's a hard ass, but he gets results, or like, he's fair and he's honest. Yeah, he's tough on me, but he's fair and he's honest.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of guys doing kind of a lot of different kind of nationalized podcasts who constantly bring up Tortorella and say like, I learned so much from him, or I owe everything to him. And then you see videos of like Tortorella at like animal shelters, and you're like did this guy hire like a crisis PR company to like rehab his image? Like, what the fuck is going on here? But Torts has kind of lost his fastball. Lindy's lost his fastball too. These guys that are in their 60s, that are stuck in their ways, that aren't willing to kind of learn and adapt, how to talk to this sort of, younger Gen Z type of player, but also the sort of, the iPad analysis and the analytical analysis. Like, you got to lean into analytics now, love it or hate it. You have to, as a coach. You can use it and not use it however you want, but you have to understand it and have to understand what it means. Every team, is now analytically driven. And if you're not updating your systems and you're not updating, the way you play to kind of match kind of the current league, if you're not implementing a newer kind of refresh type of power play, if you're not implementing, a different kind of forecheck, or if you're not implementing a different kind of neutral zone systems, like that shit gets stale, and it gets stale really fast. And you couple that with a real hard ass attitude, it kind of happens, like you said, like 2 to 3 years and his welcome's worn out. I think Mitchkov should try like 6 Michigans tonight just to say fucking YOLO. Like, I think that would be absolutely hilarious. I bet the Flyers kick the shit out of whoever they're playing.
Who are they playing today? Oh, Montreal, actually.
Montreal.
They're playing the Habs.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Mike Ruff was just writing on here, and I had heard this a lot today too about Tocchet being a possibility. I mean, because it kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah, I think he's a Flyer legend. That just, there's so much of that makes sense.
People are forgetting that he's a coach right now, and I mean, if you're
his contract's up, I think, at the end of this year.
But why would I mean, the only way would be he wants to leave, right? Because I can't see Vancouver getting rid of Tocchet. Like, why would they get rid of Tocchet? He seems like he knows what he's doing. The team has had more success under him than they have, how many 3 or 4 coaches before.
Because teams are stupid. Like, I feel like we have like this idea that these guys can't do any wrong, and I think I kind of had a little bit of those blinders on with Fitz. It's kind of like, he knows what he's doing. He's been doing this for a while, but it's like, you know what? I think these fucking guys are just flying by the seat of their pants. Like, when I was working for Neil Smith for the Rangers, like shit changed every single day, like under him. Like, he was making weird decisions kind of just based on one phone call, and would totally change direction from one day to the next. Like, someone pissed him off on a Tuesday, they were shipped out on Wednesday. And they make kind of, a lot of teams, I don't think, have a lot of long-term planning that they really kind of stick to.
I agree. I don't know. Like he says that Mike's saying that Tocchet's style doesn't fit well in Vancouver. Once they traded away JT, the grinding style.
Talk's a grinder, right? I think he's kind of, not like Tortorella, but in that vein of expects, a certain level of buy-in and kind of, team first, block shots and get into the dirty areas, rah hockey guy type of shit.
If I ever got a job in Vancouver, I don't give a shit what that job was. I'm never leaving Vancouver. Like, it is like one of my favorite places. I would never leave there. So,
by the way, Mike Chris is looking to get out of New Jersey. So, if you have any jobs,
Mike, you got an extra room?
Yeah, you got he's to sleep on his couch. Mike has a little baby, so you're gonna have to take care of that.
That's all right. I have 2 kids, a wife, a dog, 2 cats. We're all on our way. We're heading out to BC.
we're in the fucking Chrismobile.
5-4. Bobby's son's team was winning with 90 seconds left. He did send us a 41-second clip that's probably just them finishing up, but I think it's safe to say that they won the championship. So congratulations.
I think Bobby's kid. Yeah, there we go, Bob.
Why would you not want to go to Vancouver, Jay? That's a beautiful friggin' city.
Oh, Jay and Mike are gonna have to argue it out in the chat.
I want to see you guys fight over it.
Fight.
Yeah, kick his ass, Mike. Yeah, you ask why? Why? What the fuck's wrong with Vancouver, Jay? Where are you from? Yeah,
so
Jay,
I wanted to.
I like females. What the fuck am I gonna do in Vancouver? There's women there. I'm pretty sure.
I think there are.
Yes. Congrats, Bobby Jr.
All right,
but
so
Jay, where do you wait? I just want to say, where do you live? Are you in Jersey? I know we're on a bit of a delay, so we might have to wait for this. Because if you were living in Jersey, New York, and you're saying fuck Vancouver, oh my God, Jesus.
New York City.
And I don't know.
Oh,
he just wrote New York.
I lived in the Bronx for 20 years.
I'm kind of with Mike.
Oh,
I mean, I've been to the city more than. That's also how you know people are from Jersey, right? We just refer to New York as the city. There's not another one. There's tons of cities that are all in driving distance: Baltimore, Atlantic City, Philadelphia. You can go anywhere, but the city is New York always.
Yeah, Jay Snow, where he lived, Arthur Ave, like that's some of the best Italian food you'll find anywhere in the world.
Well, why don't we get Mike in from Vancouver and we'll have Jay buy us dinner on Arthur Avenue.
I used to live in Riverdale, so I had to go to Arthur Avenue all the time, especially the parades. Just walk down the street. You can walk into any fucking deli there and get like the best prosciutto and mozzarella you'll ever have.
I just love these guys are going at it.
I know.
I want to hear Jay be like, well, at least we don't burn our fucking city down when we don't win a cup. I want him to go there, Jay. Go there. Go for the throat.
Fight.
All right.
All right. So
you want to do some video?
Yeah, let's see if this works. Hopefully this doesn't burn down my computer. But I thought one of the things that I really liked last night is executionally they did a lot right, and in particular I liked the first goal, and then I wanted to talk about two of the other goals. So hopefully this doesn't break my computer.
If it does, we'll just stop it.
Yes. Oh, shit. Something just happened. Wednesday. I got to go to NHL.com. Hopefully we don't get copyright strike because of our massive audience. What's happening?
New York literally always smells like piss. You know what, Mike?
Just during the summer, all right? That's fucked up. Fuck you guys.
Well, no, look, I'm not a fan of New York City.
I will defend you. I lived in Riverdale in the Bronx and took the one train from the Bronx all the way down to the World Trade Center and worked there for 15 years.
I mean, my wife works in the city. She drives it every single day. I'm happy working on the beach in Jersey. That's where I want to be.
There you go.
All right.
So,
you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, we're gonna try this.
So
guys. Let us know if this works.
Yeah. So
walk us through this.
This is the first goal. Hopefully, we won't have an ad. Hopefully, the video will actually fucking work. Look, my computer. Can you see anything? Okay.
All
right.
No,
so first things first.
Go.
So this is the first goal. So this is a set play. What you're gonna see. Yeah, I haven't hit play yet. So I just wanted to set the table here. So this is a set play that you're going to see. So what they do is it's kind of a high-low face-off play. So Tatar's going to pop out high, and Bastian's going to be he's the one who eventually scores, and he's going to swing underneath the Blackhawks center. So Lazar wins the draw cleanly. So you'll see
back to Pesci.
What Tatar popping out high does is, as opposed to going D to D from Pesci to Luke, so Luke would have a guy right in his face. It kind of creates a little bit of an odd man situation where Reichel, number 70, I think it's Reichel, on Chicago, it's almost a little bit of a mini 2-on-1. And a lot of situationally, what you want to do in hockey is create little 2-on-1s and 3-on-2s. So what this does is they'll have this guy pop out, and then you saw Bastian pop into the slot, and then he's going to sneak down in front of the net. And Lazar's going to go to and Lazar's going to go to the corner. So that's going to confuse both of the Blackhawks defenders, who both go to cover Lazar, and then Bastian is sitting all by himself, and look at our handsome, tall, beautiful Lukey boy with his gorgeous pass, and garbage man Bastion. All he has to do is just fucking stand there. So that was one of my favorite goals, but it just shows kind of executionally, like there are set plays in hockey, and that is something that you do off of a face-off win pretty often. Is that guy will pop out high, and you'll see the Devils run this a lot. They'll have a forward up high in between the two defensemen, is almost kind of an intermediary between the two.
Right.
And then the second goal, and I'll just do another one of these before it breaks my computer. I actually really like this Palat goal.
Oh, what a snipe! It was beautiful
because
pass.
this was almost
great.
perfect. Yeah, and what I liked about this is this was almost a perfectly executed 2-on-2. Like, we talk about 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s, that type of stuff. But a 2-on-2, when it's just, one guy, like you have to kind of cross over and create a little bit of confusion with the defenseman to kind of make them chase you. So Nazar loses the puck somewhere along here. Yeah, Brad kicks it up. So it's a 2-on-2. So watch. So they're coming in, and what you want to do is cross. So the guy without the puck, Palat, you could see him. He's about to cross behind Brad.
Low, yeah.
And Brad crosses in front, drops the puck, and fucking Grandpa still got it, man. That was just an absolute snipe. So I thought that was a pretty cool play. Just sort of everybody kept talking about, like, last night was an ugly win. I don't think it was. And actually all right.
No, we can go back. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No.
No.
Participate in the chat, but can't even like the video. Help these boys out. Yeah, sorry, boys. So that was cool. So I thought executionally they did some things really well last night. Again, it was the Blackhawks. They could get the fucking doors blown off of them by Winnipeg, and that might happen. Or Winnipeg could be sleeping at the wheel. But historically, the last couple of times I think we've gone out to Winnipeg have actually been some of the worst games of our season.
Yeah, we've had a really hard time against them. No matter where it is, whether it's up there or down here, we've had a really hard time with them. Hollabuck has our number. I mean, you even go to that 112-point season. The game in Winnipeg, I don't know if you guys remember this. We didn't get shut out one time that whole season.
Yep.
And we were, I think, 3 seconds away from being shut out by them. And we ended up losing the game something like 3-4-1. And he sure scored with like 3.5 seconds left just to get, break the shutout that we were able to. But yeah, they give us fits, and Hollabuck gives us fits. And tomorrow is, to me, a very important game just to see where their head is at. You came off of a good game. You should feel good about yourself, but not great. You should be, okay, we won. We got our 2 points. What did we do that was good, and what can we do better? Because you better do it against Winnipeg, because they're a complete team. Like you said, they're super deep. But I think, again, when this Devil team plays their game, they can hang with anybody. The problem is getting them to play that game. We haven't seen that game consistently in over 2 months.
Yeah,
so
getting them to play 60 minutes too. They've had some very good stretches. But again, like I want to see them win fucking hockey games. Like I'm tired of losing. Like losing sucks, and it's been 3 months of this now. Like I didn't sign up to be a fucking Devils podcaster with this team losing like this.
No. And so Jay, you're asking me if I honestly think we're going to go 9-1. So do I honestly think it? I think if this team plays their best hockey, when you look at the schedule for the next 10 or next 9 now, did I think it was feasible to go 9-1? No, probably not. Did I think 6-4 is more likely? Yeah, but I'm going high. I mean, that's it. I'm all in at this point. Let's see what happens. If it ends up where they only lose 1 game the rest of the year, I look like a fucking genius. If not, then I look the same way I always do, which is stupid. So
there you go. Yeah. Hairless, and
I do. Go ahead.
So Mike just brought up something that I did want to touch on is and this is in response kind of to another podcast and podcast host who's a fucking idiot. A guy named Sam Wu, who seems to think Nemec is. Hang on, I'm going to refresh because I want you to see my face. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Keep the kids entertained.
I will keep the kids entertained. So yeah, I don't listen to Locked On Devils. I think that's Sam Wu. So I don't know. I really don't listen to too many other Devil podcasts. I kind of just like hanging out with you guys. But all right, I kept them occupied.
Look, I'm a dick about it, but I just think he's wrong. Like he's like Nemec is terrible. Nemec is so bad. We get rid of him. Nemec is not a bad hockey player. He did not forget how to play hockey. He's had a rough season. Yes. I understand that. Started off with a bad injury, started off pretty rough where they had him paired with Casey, 2 rookies on the blue line together on his offside. That's a recipe for disaster. When he went back to the AHL, he finally kind of got it back together. Now he's been up, he's been in and out of the lineup. That's kind of hard on a player's psyche. But he was effectively one of our best defensemen last year, showed maturity beyond his years. He did not just forget how to play hockey. And if you look at his last couple of games, he's getting progressively better. Last game was probably his best game he's had to date. He was locking up guys behind the net. His puck retrievals were great. He was shutting down zone entries. His first pass was good. He didn't make very many mistakes, if any at all. Nothing glaring that led to goals. Nemec was very good last night. And look, I don't know what's going to happen in the offseason. We may keep him. We have his rights. We don't have to trade him anywhere. And it may actually be best for us to hold on to him and have him and let him have a very good AHL season next year. Or we get rid of Dougie and slide him in.
Okay. So wait, Trey Matthews is locked on. So what's Sam Wu on? What's his show? I don't think I've ever heard him. And I'm with you, Mike. I do like Ace. He does a good job. Yeah, I actually do watch him from time to time. So yeah, but anyway, about Nemec. I do not want to trade him for one reason and one reason only. I don't want to trade him because we gave up on a number 7 first round fucking pick in Holtz. And now we're going to give up on a number 2 pick on Nemec because things aren't working out. I hear what you're saying. He did play above and beyond last year, but was he that great? I don't know. I mean, he was thrown in some really tough situations, him and Luke. When you're depending on a 19-year-old first-year D-man to play number 1 minutes, I mean, he played okay, but the team wasn't good. So I'm so up in the air about Shimon Nemec. I don't want to trade him, like I said, because of that. Like you're going to give up. What are we getting back? We're getting back a number 2 value trade? Probably not. Like you're whipping on a draft pick. I just think let him develop a little bit more. Give him next year, but not in the AHL. Like, give them like you said, we have now an influx of defensemen. We've talked about this a lot. If your main priority this offseason, it absolutely should be moving off of Dougie Hamilton. All right. 4 years on this team. He's played 1 year without injury. I don't give a shit how good you are at this point. I don't give a shit how bad you are at this point. If you can't stay healthy, you're not helping the team. And Dougie Hamilton, 3 out of 4 years, cannot stay healthy. And this isn't Nico Hischier missing 6 games. This is out for huge chunks of the season.
Yes, I agree. And look, I love Dougie. You know that. I defend him to the moon. I think his contributions to our offense go so undernoticed by a lot of our fan base, and his defensive game is far better than he gets credit for. But
which is why I'm saying
you are correct. He missed an entire season with a torn titty. He had a whole bunch of freak injuries where he broke his jaw randomly and some other shit. And now this, like, when you accumulate this many random weird injuries, you're kind of fragile. Right. I think the best bet is to try and find somewhere to unload his contract. On our right side is Nemec, Pesce, and Kovacevic, and you just ride with that.
Plus you have Seamus Casey, and then you're going to have Anton Silyev coming in a year or two.
Yes.
Your right side is fine. But
and another thing, one of Dougie's values is on the power play. And if you look at our power play since Luke took over, has been top 5 in the league at clicking it over 30%. The last 2 weeks, it's been almost 60%. So Luke is handling that load. He's at a point per game since the 4 Nations, which is basically when Dougie went down. He has 16 points in 16 games. Like Luke is handling this load. He's had one, I think, maybe mediocre to bad game since then, but the game he put together against Chicago, and then he had a great game. I think Vancouver he had kind of a rough game, but every other game since the Four Nations, he's been the number one defenseman, and it's shown. Like Luke is ready to take the reins and be that guy. And with him and Pesci, he has a good pair with Siegenthaler back with Kovacevic. We'll have that good shutdown pair. Then we'll have Dylan, and whether it's Casey or Nemec, or maybe both, kind of rotating in and out. That'll be a good third pair. But I think that frees up that $9 million, and we can go get like Nick Ehlers or someone of that ilk.
I mean, like Jay says, like Dougie's clapper isn't the same anymore. That was something we talked about a lot this year. I mean, how much of this was due from the holdover of the injury on the chest, right? So the torn pec, and now his shot's not there. And so, yeah, to me, Dougie Hamilton still has value in this league because of what he's done and what he's capable of doing. You want to move off of Dougie Hamilton in a year or two, you're not going to get dog shit for him. But after this year, if you can go and sell this dude, hey, he's fully healthy, hopefully, maybe he even comes back for a second round if the Devils make it, who the hell knows, late in the first round, maybe he comes back and he could show you something and you can actually use it. But right now, and we're going to change this a million times, I know, and we're going to have a gazillion different opinions and back and forth of what we should or shouldn't do in this offseason. But to me right now, the two things that I would focus on if I was Tom Fitzgerald would be moving off of Dougie Hamilton and trying to get, like you said, somebody in here that whether you want a third, well, I don't really know if we need a 3C anymore. You're going to have Cody Glass next year. That kind of fixes that problem. Maybe even drop Mercer down to 4C next year. And if you wanted to, or intermingle him and Glass. And I think between Jack and Nico and those two dudes, you're all right. But trade Dougie, get something of value, and do whatever you can to try and sign Sam Bennett. That's where I'm at. Those are the two things that would be my number one and number two. That'll probably change in a few weeks. And then
I think Sam Bennett's going to resign in Florida, and I think he's going to get a preposterous deal. I think he's going to get almost like a $9 million 8-year deal.
Do you think they could afford that, though? I mean, it's why Montour left, and I'm just saying, I don't know.
Yeah, I think they can.
Yeah, I mean,
Zito's a creative GM, and that's kind of what frustrates me with Fitz is he's like, oh, I don't know, I have all these guys, and I gave him for, it's like the I think you should leave meme where it's like we're all trying to find the guy that did this, when it's like they all have no movement clauses. I don't know how that happened. It's because
they keep on getting thrown into the contracts.
Like,
I don't know who
you
keeps
give a
doing
third
it.
line center Eric Holla no move clause.
We gave a fucking no move clause to a defenseman that you signed, your seventh defenseman that you traded for, brought in, and after fucking 25 games, you wanted to put a fucking ring on his finger and let him fuck your asshole because you're just so in love. And it's like, dude, you got to back up. Stop giving away no trade clauses like they're candy. It's okay to trade people. They're still going to want to come to Jersey. And you sure as fuck didn't have to lock up Kovacevic as quickly and as early as you did. I don't know.
And actually I can pull that up really quickly too if we really want to get into it. Hang on.
Sure. What are we pulling up?
Just my folder of dick pics. Hang on one second.
Oh, I can't wait. Do I have to enlarge the screen so everyone can see?
Yeah, get your magnifying glasses out, boys.
All right. So, yeah, let's do this little exercise, and then we'll wrap it up for tonight.
Never mind. This might be breaking me.
All right, go. Before you freeze and we break everything. Anything else you want to touch on this evening? You still
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I think yeah, can you hear me? Yeah,
yep,
I'm here.
I got you.
I tried to open that Excel chart that I had. Yeah, I just I think it wasn't the prettiest win, but executionally it was good. They controlled the play most of the game. I just want to see them carry that over and play that game at Winnipeg. The margin between the Blackhawks and Winnipeg is pretty big. So we'll see. We'll see how they make it work.
So what's your prediction for tomorrow, Mike, Jay, DJ? If you're still there, what's your predictions for tomorrow and score? I'm going to go. I said that the Devils were going to win in overtime. I'm going to stick with the Devils. 3-2 in overtime. All right, DJ, be good, brother. Who you got for tomorrow night? Tell us before you leave. So, yeah, that's where I'm going. What do you got, Timmy?
Well, I mean, 3-2 in overtime is kind of the perfect score. I think they surprise the shit out of us. I think it's 4-1 Devils.
Okay, Ruff's going
I think
4-3 Devils.
Yeah, I think Winnipeg takes their foot off the gas, kind of gives us one, doesn't show up for a full game.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll wait and see. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us again tonight. This is always fun. Look forward to it every time. If you're watching us on the YouTube channel, please subscribe, like, whatever else you got to do. Hit the little notification bell. If you're listening to us on a audio podcast, a 5-star review, especially on Spotify and Apple, really does help the little podcast that could. So for Timmy, Chris, we are the Uncle Puckers. And we'll see you when we see you.
Later, boys.
That's all you got?
It's over, Johnny. It's over!
I think we're going to get bumped off again.